many visionaries, too many blind luminaries, too many castaways out begging to be saved. There's too many money chasers ganging up on Mother Nature, creature comforting our paradise away. Ah, but who am I to say? I've just been born today in a cabin to myself out in the redwoods. My word straight to God, or what I think is God. I know another way out if we all could stop for a minute, wipe the progress from our eyes, and stare at the setting sun that holds us here alive, and dream like we've never dreamed for less, not more this time. You are my ally. If you can, so can I. Simplify. There's too many advertisements advertising, mesmerizing us into that buy it now or never dream. There's too many corporations, too many television stations, too many restaurants not serving what we need. Ah, but who am I to say? I've just been born today in a cabin to myself out in the redwoods. My word straight to God, or what I think is God. I know another way out if we all could stop for a minute, wipe the progress from our eyes, and stare at the setting sun that holds us here alive, and dream like we've never dreamed for less, not more this time. You are my ally. If you can, so can I. Simplify. Yeah, when I say I've just been born today in a cabin to myself in the redwoods, and my word straight to God, or what I think is God. I know another way out if we all could. Stop for a minute, wipe the progress from our eyes, and stare at the setting sun that holds us here alive, and dream like we've never dreamed for less, not more this time. You are my ally. If you can, so can I. Simplify.
This ought to be interesting.
If you're wondering what I'm waiting for, there's a countdown clock for our online video. I'm waiting for that to, and everyone online can hear me now. So hello, everyone online. We are starting in just a second. There we go. All right. So here we are. Welcome to Tucson New Thought. How is everyone this morning? Beautiful. I'm sorry it's a little chilly in here. Last time I asked, they said that their furnace is not working. So why don't we all stand up and we can move our bodies around, and maybe that'll warm us up. What do you say? Oh, I should probably stop this. Yes. And we're going to do this. All right, so you have the lyrics for this if you'd like to sing along, or you can just move. I had a dream so big and loud, I jumped so high, I touched the clouds. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. There we go. I Dance with my hands out to the sky. Dance with monsters in the night. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. I'm never gonna look back. Whoa, I'm never gonna give it up. No, just don't wake me now. Ooh, ooh, this is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. Ooh, 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 ooh. I howled at the moon with friends, and then the sun came crashing in. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. But all the possibilities, no limits, just epiphanies. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. I'm never gonna look back. Whoa, I'm never gonna give it up. No, please don't wake me now. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. I hear it calling outside my window. I feel it in my soul. The stars were burning so bright, the sun was out till midnight. I say we lose control. Ooh, ooh. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. All right. So grateful to have you all. You can sit down and yes, and relax and enjoy. So here we are at Tucson New Thought. We come here every Sunday as a spiritual community to know one truth, and one truth, the whole truth, and that's the only truth. That there is only one power, one presence, one infinite spirit. It is the core of who each and every one of us is. We are that infinite spirit individualized. What did I say the other day? We are infinity expressing as individuality. And that's a really good thing to know, because once we truly embody this principle and know this principle, life gets better. Would you like your life to get better? Always. I mean, I think even as good as life is, life can always be better, because there's infinite possibility in the world and in this expression of the universe. Good morning. How are you this morning? Yes. So we are here to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. That's our vision. We envision a world that works for everyone, We do this by providing practical tools for personal transformation. And when we do this, we awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. But we have to use those tools. One thing that I do know, one thing that I'm very clear on, and you've all been here before, and so you may have heard me say this before, but I'm going to remind you as I look out on each and every one of your beautiful faces that you are magnificent. You are magnificent. And what I would love for us to do is to greet our neighbor now and let them know in our own unique voice, in our own unique way, how magnificent they are. For everyone online, I want to let you know that I see you. I know that you are magnificent. Good morning. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Coming to say hello and Oh, you are so
Anyhow?
magnificent. Good morning.
We decided so magnet-ticity.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to invite William to join me on stage. One of my favorite aspects of the service that we do every week is this particular ceremony, this particular ritual. We call this the Lighting the Flames of Faith ceremony. And what we are about to do is light candles. And for each candle that we light, what we are doing is we are recognizing the inherent truth that all faith traditions, all religious paths, all spirituality comes from one source, the infinite source of love. And so we light first a candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the divine will of love as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them and for all faith traditions unnamed in this ceremony. We light a candle to represent the healing of any circumstance that requires divinity to be revealed. And the final candle we light is your candle. This candle represents anything in your life that requires illumination in this perfect moment. And I open and offer illumination, knowing that it is within you. So this candle is in honor of that very light in your heart. Thank you, William. I'm going to invite us all to just take a breath and relax right where we are. Allowing ourselves to reflect on the infinite love that is present in this room. I trust in faith in the perfection of this divine energy from which all things are created. It is love, it is light, it is God. And I trust to know that this is who each and every one of us is. And in this moment, I choose to surrender to this good. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live
that's real and true and free as I continue walking in this mystery. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks. What I know is that those things are simply circumstantial, and they were all created in mind, and so they are dissipated in mind in the here and now. I let go of anything I hold on to in this moment, trusting in the perfect flow of love and light, peace, power, beauty, joy, and harmony, the aspects of infinite spirit flowing forth at this time in this place. I allow myself to feel gratitude, to let the entire body be enlightened and lifted up in and with gratitude. Knowing that gratitude is the fuel and the engine of creation, I know that all that flows forth from this point forward is backed by gratitude. And so it shows up perfectly for our highest good, for it can do nothing but. That is the nature of spirit. That is the nature of God. That is the nature of love. And so I simply release, let go, allow, let it flow. And let it be so, as together we say, and so it is. If you'd like to sing along, the lyrics are in your handout. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am kinder every moment, every day. And I am grateful every moment, every day. And I am stronger every moment, every day.
It's an interesting experience to not have your technician present. Our technician, who is usually here running the technical aspects of the service, he and his mother and family are at Disneyland for rodeo weekend, which is, what we do as Tucsonans. Well, at least that's what I did too when I was his age and growing up here. Just allowing myself to feel the energy that we've just collectively created in this room, that energy of love and support and joy. This is the power we have as individualizations of the infinite divine presence. And I am so grateful for it every moment, every day. So I've been doing most of the random reading and reflection out of this book, and then I was advised by someone that they prefer this book over this book, which I used this book last week. All right, we're going to make it random. I know the size, but do you know which one is in which hand? Left hand or right hand? Yes. If you would please provide for me a number between 25 and 423. 286. It was 286, right? I just want to make sure I heard that correctly. All right. 1, 2, or 3? 3? This is under the chapter Mental Equivalence, under the heading Definite Plan. And it's in the middle of a thought. So I'm going to read it as it is, and we will utilize it in the perfect way. But, one might say, the practitioners spoke the same word for each. Why did they not all receive $100 per week? Because the law says we can only have what we can take. The practitioner's word was used for each in like manner, but each could only receive his fill, only his mental capacity to comprehend. That didn't make sense to me. The practitioner's word was used for each in like manner, but each could receive only his fill, only his mental capacity to comprehend. Well, now I comprehend that sentence, so that makes it a lot easier. Well, this speaks to the challenge that we have sometimes, both in utilizing spiritual practice for our own work and as practitioners and ministers for the work of others, for the spiritual health of others and the work of others. Because what he's talking about here is the receptivity that we may or may not have to our good. That receptivity is a thing that can either expand our experience of life or it can block it. It depends on how receptive we are. Receptivity creates a cap. So if we are just a little bit receptive to our good, then we only experience a little good. If we are infinitely receptive to our good, then we have the potential to experience infinite good. And in fact, I like to think that that's how I walk through life. But I'm not always like that. I like to think I am. I did study this for a very long time, and I became a minister of religious science, and I know how to use this stuff, right? And yet there are things that show up in my life, and I am suspect. I am subject to the degree that I allow myself to be subject to the consciousness all around me, the atmosphere of consciousness. You know, I talked right before this about how we've created a collective consciousness of good, a collective consciousness of love. And we can choose to carry this with us once we move out these doors, or we can choose to leave it behind. That's up to us. Wherever we go, we are creating our atmosphere of consciousness. So what do we take into the world? What do we take into the world? That's the big question for me today, and of course, it aligns with what I would like to talk about as well. We carry the infinite nature of this divine energy everywhere we go because that is who and what we are. Are you open to that being the point of view from which all you do unfolds? That's a big question. Because if there is any place where we block in consciousness our good, we're going to keep coming up and hitting walls. I did that for a long, long time. I'll tell you, I thought I had it together 20 years ago when I was in my 20s. Thought I had it together. I think most 20-year-olds think they have it all together, right? But the more that I settled into knowing who I was, the more my life got better. Because it was not about ego any longer. It was about that deeper sense of heart space. It wasn't about trying to prove anything to anyone else. It was about trying to understand the infinite nature of the self. And the more I became receptive to that, the better my life got. So it's something to continue to consider, because as I walk through life, you know, the song says there may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way. I just create those. I do it below the level. I mean, I don't think any of us would purposefully create walls or roadblocks. Is there anyone who's out there saying, I'm going to create a wall today for myself to butt up against? I'm going to let that one. Wow. You stumped me, William. You got me. Personal walls, personal blocks in mind create the limit to our experience. As we knock those walls down, as we open up the potential, we have greater possibility in life. And that's really what that's all about. So let's decide in this moment. Let's make a collective decision in this moment to let go of those walls and roadblocks. Whether we have purposefully and at the level of awareness created them, or whether they've been created below the level of awareness, let's trust and know that we have the power to knock them down. They are no longer required in our experience. What do you say? Sound good to you? Sounds good to me. Yeah. The song I've chosen today, I handed out the lyrics because I would love for us all to sing this together. This is a Daniel Namod song, Love Is My Decision. And I just feel that in the month of awakening to love, it felt like a very appropriate song to sing on our final Sunday. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God as me knows how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God has me knows how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down that road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God as me knows how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down that road. Love is my decision. No one else can
lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God as me knows how. Love is my decision right here and now. My decision right here and now.
Love is my decision, right here and now. Right here and now. I've had an interesting consideration since I arrived and started this experience of the Sunday gathering celebration service. And that consideration is that I almost don't want to talk about what I plan on talking about today. So whatever happens is going to be what happens. That's what happens. When spirit is like moving, you got to go. You got to trust. You got to trust. Love is my decision. Right here and right now, how many of us are actively making that decision? Because here's my thing. As much as I would like to think that I have embodied that decision in every aspect of my life, I haven't. I still have the experience of feeling challenged by things, and the first place I go to isn't always loving kindness. Last week I talked about the flood in my home. The home that I'm going to own on March 5th when we sign the closing documents. We've been renting the space, and last week we had a flood. We're in a 2-story townhouse. We had a flood on our first floor. And love was not my first decision in that experience, because I was triggered in that moment by the experience of it all and had to make a decision in that moment. Am I really wanting to buy this house? I haven't closed yet. I could still back out. We can still back out of this deal. All I lose is, a little money that is for things already paid for. And then I had to stop, take a step back, which we do sometimes, remember who I am, and know that my life is led by love only. But I have to actively remind myself of this. Spirituality, spiritual practice, it's work. No, nobody wants to hear that. But it's work. It gets easier, the work gets easier, and it becomes more ingrained and becomes our beingness more and more and more and more. But we also think that we have a limited time from the day we are born until the day we make our transition, that we think that that is our limited time to master it all. But I know a deeper truth. I trust in a deeper truth. If I know who I am, and that is the infinite presence of a divine spirit, of the divine spirit, the only thing going on, love, light, life, peace, power, beauty, joy, these are the attributes of God, and God is always unfolding in terms of creation. I am part of that infinite creation. So there is absolutely no separation, none whatsoever. When I am in alignment with that all the time, then I know that this is not it. There is no limitation any longer. I am part of the infinite. I am the infinite. I'm having an experience where I perceive myself as finite. But I can let that go because it's all done in mind first and foremost. So I step back, remind myself of the truth. I remind myself who I am, and I know that I choose to lead with love. And so, I look at the flood, I look at the water all around me, and I think to myself, this is easy. Why not? This is easy. I can mop up the water, I will turn the water off, and I will call the plumber, which is what I did. The plumber did come, simple fix, fixed a seal, and you know what it was? Because it's so common here, it was roots in the sewer. So everything just backed up because the water and it could not flow. So he comes out, and luckily we have a sewer access point, so he was able to go in there and get the roots and free it all up. That was that. Easy. Now, in that moment, I could have decided that it was hard, and I would have that would have been the frame of mind from which all the circumstances would have unfolded. It would have been hard. It may have been the exact same physical expression, but my mental approach to it is what would have changed the experience. I decide in every moment what is easy and what is not. This is the power that we each and every one of us have in our lives, to decide in every moment, given the circumstances that we are experiencing, what is easy and what is hard. Well, I'm going to choose easy from now on. That's going to be my point of view. That's how I'm going to unfold. That's how I'm going to step forth, knowing that life is easy, because that's God's nature. God's nature is easy. Does God have to work to do anything? No. I almost, you saw, I was like, and I had to think about it. I'm like, does it? No. God does not have to work to do anything. God simply is. And that's who and what we are. To think that we need to work to do anything, well, that is not awakening to love in our hearts. We're the ones who get to change our lives. That's the important message. We're the ones who are in charge. Ernest told, so now I'm getting back to what I planned on talking about today, because it actually, of course, it's easy, it all aligns. So we are working through the Declaration of Principles as written by Ernest Holmes in 1927. I think we're on the 10th one. I'm going to read them so you don't have to follow along, and I also have adjusted it slightly. I don't say we believe, I say we teach, because it's up to you to determine what you believe. We teach the direct revelation of truth through the spiritual and intuitive nature of each person, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. That's what I've been talking about. That's what I've been talking about. Revealing truth is our birthright. It is what we are here to do. We reveal truth through the expression and experience of love, but we have to flow forth from that point of view of love first and foremost. I love that he says and wrote that it's a direct revelation. It is a direct revelation. What that means, there is no middleman. There's no middleman, which is different from many spiritual philosophies, many religious traditions and faith traditions and philosophies. There is no middleman. Each and every one of us is a mystic. Each and every one of us is a prophet. That's one of the ways. So one of the things that happens is when I introduce myself to the world in whatever way, if I go to a public function and you do go into small talk, and what is one of the first questions that you're always asked? Oh, so what do you do? And I say, I'm a minister. What denomination? There's an automatic assumption that I am a Christian minister, right? Automatic assumption. And the question is, am I a Christian minister? I usually say, I am not specifically a Christian minister. I like to consider the spiritual philosophy. I've been saying trans-denominational, but I feel like there's a bigger concept for it beyond just being trans-denominational, because we're beyond. Meta-denominational. I love that. We're meta-denominational. But if you trace back religious science, there is a definite Christian ideology that is underlying all of it. Ernest Holmes, our founder, said and was very clear, Jesus was the great teacher. But Jesus, he was also very clear, is not the middleman. Jesus is the way shower. We are all like Jesus, and this is what Jesus taught. I can't remember exactly what it is, but great things you will do. You will do even greater things than I have done, he is purported to have said, because he understood, and that was his message. His message was that we are all the body of the infinite divine presence called God. The Father and I are one. He's using I in the infinite sense that he's speaking about each and every one of us. We are the body of God. The universe is the body of God. He also taught the second part. So he taught the divinity of humanity, the Father and I are one. That's one of the, really, even though we have these core concepts, that's one of the two things we teach. We teach that, and the second thing we teach is the law of cause and effect. Well, he stated that very clearly. It is done unto you as you believe. That's the law of cause and effect. Our belief system is the cause. Everything that shows up is the effect. It is done unto us as we believe, so everything is showing up based on what we believe. So there it is. Direct revelation. No middleman. There's no need. There actually is no need for spiritual rites or ceremonies. Those are lovely things. I love to do this particular ceremony. Do I have to do this to truly embody and understand the connected nature of all spiritual traditions, all faith traditions, and all religions? I don't have to, but it makes me feel good. And it makes me, it's a good way of reminding myself of that infinite truth. We don't need to do those things. The best thing we can do to honor the spiritual nature that we all are is to live with loving kindness as our first and foremost expression. Loving kindness. We teach the direct revelation of truth through the spiritual and intuitive nature of each person. And anyone may become a revealer of truth. Anyone. But that's a decision. It is a decision to be a revealer of truth. And I think we are culturalized. I think our culture teaches us something else, teaches us to be less than, teaches us that we have to submit ourselves to something outside the self. Because that's where the truth is. I think it's all over our culture. But are you willing to stand up to that very principle, that very idea, and say, no, I am a revealer of truth in the way that I live my life, in the way that I choose to step forth? What are you doing today? This is the question. What are you doing today? But that's also a question for me. What am I doing today to be a revealer of truth? It's easy for me right in this moment. Here I am. This is my choice to step up on a stage every single Sunday as a minister, as someone who has learned in these philosophies, to step up and be a revealer of what I consider to be spiritual truth. But what are you doing today to be a revealer of truth? Because there is no difference between me and you. I may have, this is not true for every single person in the room because there are other ministers in the room, but I just have more education in a particular direction than many people here, and maybe not. The thing is, we all get to be revealers of truth. We all get to utilize all that has preceded us and all that we are right in this very moment to reveal truth. And that truth, there's one truth only, love. Are you ready to step forth and reveal love in all your interaction? When I walk out these doors, does my spiritual nature stop? No. It can't. It can't, because that's who and what I am. But the way in which I utilize this energy may shift when I walk out these doors. Was it actually on Tuesday, we did our first, Reverend Steph Saint Amand in British Columbia and I did our first conscious coffee. I can't remember what it's called now. Anyway, it's an online forum, basically a discussion group that we're doing the third Tuesday of every month, utilizing web conferencing software. And so Steph in British Columbia and I are co-hosts of this discussion group. And one of the things that came up was this very idea that what happens when we step outside the doors of our spiritual centers. And this was the context. For 50 years, the religious science organizations, there were two of them that have since become one, the religious science organizations would spend their summer retreat at this beautiful place called Asilomar, which is up near Monterey, California. And they're going back again this year, which I'm excited about. I don't think I'm going to go because I've got a couple weddings in Canada that I have to go to this year, and I've got to figure out my time. But what would happen is every year, here would be these ministers, practitioners, and lay people who would all descend upon the Asilomar grounds. We would take over the entire facility, and there were workshops and magnificent speakers and experiences and spiritual practices, and it was just wonderful. And you would be there for a week, just immersed in this beautiful spot by the sea, go walking in the ocean, have the nice fresh ocean air, and this just unbelievably, I would say, magical, if I believed in magic. But here's what happened. We would come there as collective, create a consciousness in this place, and we would all be immersed in this beautiful, loving consciousness. And then the week would end. And the big question is, what happens when you walk away and walk through the gates to leave the Asilomar conference grounds? Well, at the time that I was, my first years in this movement, I would drive from Southern California all the way up to Monterey to go to the Asilomar conference. And so, it's basically one tank of gas to get up there. And when we'd leave Asilomar, before you got on the highway, the first thing you would do is go to the gas station because you had to fill up your tank. So we went to the gas station. I was with Reverend James Mellon at the time, and he had been one of the speakers this particular week that comes to mind. And we pull up, and he gets out, and I roll down the window, and we're just, he's filling up the gas tank, and there's this car on the other side, and it's these two women who are filling up their gas tank, but they're in this bickering fight around how they're going to pay for the gas. Well, I paid for the gas coming up here, and I put in this much amount, and so I don't owe that. And they were, right? Doing their thing. And they turn around, and they see James. Oh, you were magnificent this week at the conference grounds. You were so magnificent. Your talk changed my life. But it makes you wonder how quickly we can fall off of it and step away from loving kindness and start getting into these expressions of conflict, right? We're in charge. They are in charge of their experience. Now, I don't want to stand up here and judge them. I guess I am kind of judging them. But there's a level of discernment that we can all carry to make a decision in every single moment. Am I expressing in loving kindness? Am I expressing in and as loving kindness? The next, you almost got a lot less of my talk. Oh, actually, no, you didn't. The next point on our Declaration of Principles, it's another longer one. It says this: we teach that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impress of our thought and acts upon it. And the note that I wrote here is this: this is something that is frankly better explained in class. This is basically, we have a teaching tool. I'm very quickly going to go through this. We teach the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind. I don't know if everybody has the teaching tool, but if you look at our logo, this is a stylized version of the teaching tool. The circle represents the infinite wholeness. In a stylized way, it's been broken into three sections: the top, a middle, and a bottom section. And then you'll see that there's a V in the middle. I'm not going to get into the whole teaching I'm not going to get into being a teacher right in this moment in this particular way. But all I'm going to say is this is a representation of exactly what this says. The universal spirit, which is God, operates through universal mind, which is the law of God. The top section represents cause. It represents the universal mind. It represents spirit. The middle section represents what we call the soul or law, the law of cause and effect. And the bottom section represents all that is in the world of form. Spirit, soul, body. Cause, law, effect. And the V in the middle represents the descent of spirit into its particularized form. That's all it means. Like I said, we spend weeks and weeks and weeks in class talking about this symbol and the expression of how the creative process works. Because in the universal sense, we are all individualizations of the universal, so that circle works in exactly the same way for us. The top section is our cause. The middle section is the subjective law, and the bottom section is our expression and our experience in the world of form. I am intending, once we move to our new space, I will start teaching classes. Yes. So the next point. We teach the healing of the sick through the power of this mind. This is where we began. The fundamental roots of New Thought go back to the healing of the physical form through the use of mind. Now, we've expanded the concept of healing to include all sorts of things. We can heal our finances. We can heal our relationships. We can heal. But it all goes back to, I can heal a broken bone through the use of my mind. And there are healers who have done that. Am I at that point yet? Gosh, I wish I were. But I work at it every day. I work at it every single day. The roots of New Thought lying in the healing of physical illness, it goes back to, it goes back to before this particular person that I'm going to talk about. Anton Mesmer was an 18th century German doctor, and he proposed this idea that there is a relationship between the mind and the body, and it flows through an invisible force called animal magnetism. Now, what we know now is all of that is one thing. The force is our mind and our body. It's the law. Now, if the name Mesmer is familiar for any reason, it's because the word mesmerize comes from him. The concept of mesmerization, which is allowing ourselves to go to that place of alignment. Now, it's worked its way into hypnosis, but we can also say we're mesmerizing ourselves through spiritual practice every time we meditate, every time we utilize spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer, every time we utilize affirmations, every time we utilize spiritual practice, we are mesmerizing ourselves, because what we're addressing is what is happening in our mind. And as we do this, the physical form follows. So that's really about the root of the philosophy. So given these principles, just the three we've talked about today, and there's a whole list of them, 3, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I think there are 16 bullet points on there. If I remember right off the top of my head, I could be off by 1 or 2. But given these principles, what will you do when you leave this space? Who will you be when you walk out that door? Will you be someone who quickly moves to conflict when you're with somebody at the gas station and you have to figure out how you're paying for it and how it's going to be split up? Will you move through conflict, or can you express an experience through loving resolution from the point of view of kindness? You have one life to live. Here's the good news. It's not this. It's infinite. You have one life to live, though. We have eternity to get it. To get it, right? We have eternity to figure it all out. But boy, won't it be nice to figure it all out now? Love is my decision. My decision is to figure it all out right here and right now. Because I know that when I change my mind, God as me knows how. everything is to unfold from that point forth. That's the truth. That's the truth. Today is our call. Today, right here and right now, I'm calling upon each and every one of us to truly awaken to love only. Namaste. It's so funny. There's a tipping point when you have a number of people. There's a tipping point where, because people are like, oh, do I clap? And like if we had like 5 more people, there would be applause. It's a funny thing. It's a funny thing the mind does, isn't it? I would like to invite you to take out whatever it is you're offering the center today in terms of your financial gift, your contribution, your tithe, your investment. However you choose to understand it, what I know is that it is an experience and an expression of love. I honor your commitment to the vision and mission of Tucson New Thought as we continue to spread our wings. I'm so grateful that you're supporting us, and I'm grateful for the blessings that you share. So as you have whatever it is you're offering the center today, I invite you to take out your handout and read the divine givingness statement with that very physical thing in hand and in mind. Let's read this together. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that spirit is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of my spiritual center, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly. William is going to take the basket around. A couple of things that I want to let you know about as he moves about with the basket. We have a move happening. The Leadership Council has taken a look at the space we intend to move into, and they are all in agreement that this is the way we would like to go. And so we're going to do that. So we will be here this week. We will be in Spark next week and the week following, and trusting that all unfolds as we would like it to, we will be in our new space on March 17th. Yes, super excited. And we will wear green, I wrote down. I would like to share with you that we've had a very generous offer in relation to this, into what we are doing to fundraise for our move. And that is, until March 10th, for every donation that is dedicated to this purpose, and up to $3,000, we have someone who is matching that amount. So if you would like to give to that particular fund today and dedicate your giving to that fund, that will be matched. So your donation will be doubled. So I would love to have you all participate in that as well as we step forward and move and expand and grow, because it's the nature of evolution that it's time for us to expand and grow. We have prayer treatment requests cards on the table. If there is something that has come up for you today that you would like, or at any time that you would like prayer over, write out your request on this. You can put it in the basket that's over there, and I, as a minister, will do the mental work that is requested on there. If you would like a response, you can put your name and email on the back, and I will let you know when that is complete. The other thing is Johnny has an event coming up. Johnny is our host. He owns this particular facility, and he is putting together on the 4th of May the Unity Walk of Tucson. And it's basically, we're bringing faith traditions, religious understanding all together as one to step forth with one thing in mind, and that is love. To understand that we're all connected in an interfaith sort of way. There are postcards for this on the table over there. There were, I don't know where they, oh yeah, there's a stack of them. So if you'd like to take that and register for that, we'd love to see you there. I have been invited to be one of the speakers, so I'm excited about that. Something's happening for me right now. It's this. Marvis, she's like, what? Can I ask you to do me a favor? would you be willing to do a blessing over the offering? You can stay there. I can bring the microphone to you. Because we can bless from any place. Thank you.
There is one divine action, and that action right now is showing itself in the abundance and generosity of everyone here. I accept these gifts with gratitude, appreciation, and the understanding that as we give, we too shall receive. There is one life. That life is good. That life is God now. So we move forward in goodness and grace with thanks and appreciation. And together we say, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. As we continue to grow and expand, I'm always looking for opportunities to not be the only voice represented up here. So we're going to see some shifts to the flow of what we're doing each Sunday. I've got some ideas in mind to how that looks. I invite you to relax right where you are. Right here, right in this moment, I recognize and know that there's an infinite, loving presence. It is fully formed as itself by means of each and every one of us in this here and now moment. We are that very presence. We are God. We are living its life as our own. We are loving as it. Our approach with loving kindness is the root of the root of the root. Trusting in this, I give over to the good. I live in faith that all our lives are unfolding with grace and with ease, with love in our hearts, with kindness at the forefront of everything we think, everything we say, and everything we do. Trusting this, knowing this, and aligning with this goodness, I give over in gratitude, with gratitude, allowing my entire beingness to be filled with gratitude here and now, to the flow. I'm grateful for all that has conspired to make this experience here this morning happen. I'm grateful for the physical space that we are in. I'm grateful for all the technology that has allowed us to experience it in a different way. I'm grateful for everyone who has joined us online from wherever they are, trusting and knowing that we are one, each and every one of us, for this community expands and expands and expands beyond these physical barriers we call walls. For it is all rooted in mind. It is all rooted in the one. It is all rooted in the here and now. Trusting this, knowing this, and in gratitude for this, I simply release, let go, and allow the flow, as together we say, and so it is. Loving Spirit, dwell in me. This is my divinity. As within, so without. All I need is here and now. Where there's air, let me love. May I have no fear. All the power,
glory I surrender. Let it be. Loving Spirit, dwell in me now and evermore. As we close out, I want to say thank you to William and Anita and to Britt for bringing our hospitality today. Please feel free to socialize and enjoy fellowship as we end the day. But we're going to kick it up a notch and take it out into the street with Love is in the Air. Love is in the air, everywhere I look around. Love is in the air, every sight and every sound. And I know that I'm not being foolish. I know that I'm being wise. And it's something that I must believe in, 'cause it's there when I look in your eyes. Love is in the air, in the whisper of the trees. Love is in the air, in the thunder of the sea. And I know that I'm not just dreaming. I know that I'm feeling sane. It's something that I must believe in, 'cause it's there when I call out your name. You ready? Here we go. Love is in the air. Love is in the air. Oh, love is in the air, in the rising of the sun. Love is in the air, when the day is nearly done. And I know that it's not an illusion. I know what I see is true. And it's something that I must believe in, 'cause it's there when I reach out to you. Love is in the air, everywhere I look around. Love is in the air, every sight and every sound. And I know that I'm not being foolish. I know that I'm being wise. It's something that I must believe in. It's there when I look in your eyes. Love is in the air. Love is in the air. Oh, love is in the air. Love is in the air. Love is in the air. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next week.